Hello and welcome. International success came early for this Hollywood actor, with an Academy Award in 2003 at the age of just 29, making him the youngest ever to win Best Actor. His roles are intense and diverse and usually hard to forget. This week on One on One, meet international Oscar-winning Hollywood star Adrien Brody. It was his role as the enigmatic pianist in the 2002 Roman Polanski movie of the same name that won him an Academy Award for Best Actor. At 29, the youngest to do so, having meticulously prepared for the part by becoming reclusive and losing close to 30 pounds in weight. With his distinctive looks and often somber acting style, Adrien Brody had already caught the attention of Hollywood following appearances in Spike Lee's The Summer of Sam and the war movie The Thin Red Line, where he received acclaim prior to its release, although his part ended up mostly cut out in the final edit. Brody, born in Queens, New York, to a history professor father and photojournalist mother, continued to take a wide range of roles following his Oscar. From The Jacket, the disturbing tale of a shell-shocked war veteran receiving unorthodox treatment for his amnesia, to the quietly heroic lead man in the 2005 action-packed remake of King Kong. Like many of his characters, it's hard to pin down what makes Adrien Brody tick, but he's certainly someone for whom Hollywood has a lot of time. Adrien, good to have a chance to chat with you. You've done a wide range of roles. It's actually quite hard to typecast you. If you're asked, how do you describe yourself as an actor?
That's a good question. I don't know how to describe myself. I think that's part of perhaps the problem. Hollywood doesn't know necessarily how to fit me in there either. But I try to find things that I can explore new territory and.
How do you regard what Hollywood's doing nowadays? Do you find it too formulaic, or do you find there's enough variety to pick the kind of roles you'd like to do?
Well, when you use the term Hollywood, I mean, most films actually these days, unless they are really within the studio system, are kind of an international ensemble, co-production, a lot of foreign investment, and a lot of the smaller movies aren't made in Hollywood. I rarely work within Los Angeles.
Do you feel challenged? Do you feel you're being tested as an actor? Do you get the kind of challenges you need?
I find interesting material. I would like to do perhaps more great studio films. I think there are very few great roles available, so that's a challenge. I think that's a challenge.
You're generally known as a fairly private person. Are you okay with handling the media when stuff is written up about you? How do you deal with that?
I mean, I think I managed to it's not about trying to stay private. It's about some level of exposure is appropriate and some isn't, and I think it definitely comes with the territory. But my motivation is to find interesting work and to share the joy that I find in that and that creative process, and hopefully continue to do good work, and that's the end of it. The rest of it is just all a byproduct of that, and fortunately, it is a byproduct of being relatively successful, and so you have to embrace it rather than resist it, so to speak.
Well, let's take you back to Queens in New York, where you were born. How did that environment at that time shape you? How has it influenced your character?
Yeah, I think obviously our childhood and our upbringing and experiences in life shape us and individuals we become. I think it was challenging, but I think most young people's, especially their adolescence, is challenging and often much more difficult than what my experience was. So I view it as part of who I am today, and it's taught me invaluable lessons. And
your father, Elliot, was a history professor and painter. How did he influence the way you developed, the way you grew?
Well, my father's an incredibly wise and considerate human being, and he's an intellectual, and
Was he somewhat of a school teacher at home as well?
well, he had tremendous patience with myself, and as a public school teacher in New York, he was wonderful with his students. He also taught English as a second language, and I think he was, you know, a wonderful mentor. And he taught me the importance of being sincere and kind. And
now, your mother, Sylvia, was an award-winning photojournalist who was born to a Jewish father and Catholic mother who fled Budapest and the failed uprising there. I gather she took you out on her assignments for the Village Voice, and that was what first made you feel comfortable in front of the camera.
well, I mean, the camera was ever present, so yes. Going on assignments, I think, opened me up to, you know, a wonderful sense of greater understanding of artists and interesting people that I meet along on that journey. But also, my mother has a very unique perspective, very beautiful kind of way of viewing things. And
she herself has a remarkable history, having fled that uprising in Budapest. How much of that permeated into the family life, into the story?
You know, I think there is, as you know, a tremendous amount of tragedy in the world, and you know, having family members who have experienced some degree of that perhaps provides some insight, but there's plenty if you look around. And
tell me about the amazing Adrien.
well, I was fascinated with magic at a very young age. I think most boys are, and I think part of the aspect of creating an illusion, and it was good till I was about, you know, when you start thinking about being cool, it's less, you kind of move on. That's when acting kind of took over. So I think.
To what extent did your parents encourage the thespian in you? Because I gather they enrolled you into acting schools to sort of keep you away from the bad elements on the streets, to try and give you something else to focus on.
It wasn't so much necessarily to keep me away from it. It was just to find a more creative outlet rather than hanging out on the block, which was far less creative. The encouragement that my parents provided me was by far the one thing that allowed me to grow and to not be afraid of self-expression, and that's a very difficult thing to provide for your children, and it's a difficult thing, especially when you know you're. I have a very imaginative and I was very outgoing. I think especially when I was very young, and I wasn't censored. I was allowed to kind of find my way and learn from my mistakes, and I think that that was a real gift. And the other experiences in my life shaped me and gave me insight into other characters that I would perhaps play. But I think the one thing that differentiated me, I guess, from my friends was that freedom and that sense of encouragement, and not trying to form me into something that I wasn't, and letting that evolve. And that's I'm grateful for.
You're something of a daredevil with stunts. I gather you broke your nose 3 times doing off-the-wall stuff. But tell me about the motorbike accident you had in 1992. That was pretty bad, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think anyone who rides a motorcycle either comes close to a bad accident, if not experiencing as one or more. I actually was very lucky.
Adrien, we've got to pause here for a break, but more questions for you in a moment. We're back with more one-on-one after the break.